Ladies and gentlemen, I am KageKaze, again with Hawken Closed Beta Event 3, taking a look at the second of 3 mechs added to the game. This one is the medium mech, the Bruiser, and it looks like that's exactly what he's going to be. I'm looking at his design, and I can see some potential here for some serious damage. So he is the second mech to get the Hellfire missiles. The only other mech using it right now is the Rocketeer. It's a volley of high damage missiles. They can lock onto targets by using the middle mouse button or whatever button you set to your weapon's special. These rockets can be used outside of a lock, but they are far more effective with it, and they have fairly good homing. At level 1, they have a 20% reduced lock-on time. That's quite a bit, especially when you're in the thick of battle. They lose 5% heat at level 2, and they gain 10% homing at level 3. Not a lot, but when you're being chased down by those things, you really don't want that 10% to be on you. So that's quite a powerful weapon there. The Rocketeer does very well with it, especially in close range and long range. It's honestly a weapon that does very well in both. It can be used without the lock-on in close range to do quite a bit of damage. Of course, you have to be wary of the splash you might do to yourself. And at long range, the lock-on makes it very useful for deterring people that are trying to hit you, and can sometimes be very useful for making snipers want to go away. Now, the primary weapon that this guy gets is a weapon I haven't used before. It was in one of the alpha events, but I never got to swap out to it. This is the Point D Vulcan, a rapid-fire suppression weapon. The fire rate and damage output allows it to chop down enemies at close range, but tends to drop off and scatter in the distance. As far as I can tell, it looks like it is a spin-up weapon, much like a minigun you would get in, say, Team Fortress 2. At level 1, it loses 5% heat. At level 2, 5% spread. At level 3, a 10% reduction in the startup time. So you can swap that out here with a submachine gun. This is a short-barreled rapid-fire weapon that can chip down enemies at close range. Its weakness and strength is compensated by low heat generation. Loses 5% spread at level 1, 3% heat at level 2, and 10% range is given at level 3. So this is a longer range weapon. So what we'll have to look at these two. They're both bullet weapons. What you want to look at here is kind of the stats at the bottom. Their power is comparable, both doing only about 10, although the Vulcan does more, it's 12. It has a similar rate of fire. This one fires at 8.3, whereas the submachine gun is 8.7. So similar rate of fire and similar damage, Vulcan doing a little bit more. The accuracies appear to be about the same. A little more accuracy on the Point D Vulcan. It looks like 50 compared to 40. However, what you'll notice here is the effective range of the Vulcan is only 45. So that accuracy bonus it gets is only good at short range, whereas the range of the submachine gun is 65. Not only that, but the submachine gun has a much better heat efficiency at 7.4 compared to the 16.7 here. The special ability of the Bruiser is the damage absorption here. It reduces all damage taken for a short period of time. So it's a mech that can deal quite a bit of damage, and when it needs to in a pinch, start to reduce damage it takes. Since it's a medium mech, it sits somewhere nicely in the middle between speed and defensive capabilities, prowess. So you can move in and out of combat a little better than a heavy, but you can't quite have the maneuverability of a light, so you have to rely on your abilities and your weapons and, of course, your personal skill there. So we will take a look at him. First thing to see is that the weapon he is equipped with is the machine gun turret. So not only is he a bruiser in his own right, but he can put down something to do a little bit more damage to the enemy as well. Alright, now that we've got ourselves a match for the Bruiser, what we're going to try and do is let's find out what is more efficient. So with the T-Point Vulcan, there's the spin-up time. You see I hit it, doesn't fire right away, so I have to make sure I'm ready for that. It's not that long though, actually. I was anticipating it being a little longer. So let's see how much heat it takes to shut me down. So we're looking somewhere along the lines of 7 to 8 seconds to shut down going full fire with the Vulcan. Here we go. Let's get him right on top of this guy. Okay, that's heating me up. Let's go ahead and use the missiles. I'm gonna try and put down, well, apparently that doesn't matter. He had help. That was quite a bit of damage and quite a bit of heat there. He was in defensive mode, which gave him the advantage in that encounter. So we're gonna go ahead and try again, see if we can't find a little more fair fight here. So, S3, let's go over here and see what we can do, shall we? Alright, there we go. Goodbye, sir, goodbye. Alright, looks pretty good. We've got a mech above us. So, oh, here he comes. Let's put down my turret so that I can do additional damage. Using my missiles to my advantage against the fast mover here. There we go. Bring him over to my turret. Use my abilities to my advantage in this fight. I don't care how quickly you can dodge, my missiles can hit you. Ah, he did manage to get me. Very nice, with the mini flat cannon too. So, I have to admit, not exactly caring for that D-point Vulcan. Let's see what the submachine gun can do. I've used this with the assault. Let's see how long it takes me to shut down here. Oh, that's much better. That was about 13... You know, with my imprecise counting measurements, we have probably 13 to 15 seconds of sustained fire. That is much better for a fight like what I just went through now. Again, I had failed to use my special ability when I really should have, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, the slow rate of fire of the Hellfire missiles is something I have to definitely compensate for while doing this. I can't do a lot of burst damage that some of the other classes might be able to do. So let's see what we can do. See if we can live up to the Bruiser name. The problem I have so far with the point Vulcan seems to be that it didn't seem to do a lot of damage for how much heat it generates. It fires very fast. You expect a minigun like that to be excessively high damage. I kind of expect it to be along the lines of damage of, say, the flat cannon if I can maintain the fire. Now, that enemy I was fighting was very good about active dodging, which could have been what the problem was in that case. Alright, here we go. Very nice. Oh, he's retreating. Let's try and get him. Ooh. I lost him, but I think he went down. Very good. So let's keep trying. What I'll probably do is go back to the D-point Vulcan and see if I can't work with it a little better. I really like the submachine gun, though, because it does allow me to fire quite often. I can maintain a steady stream of bullets on my opponent with this weapon. It is also fairly accurate at long range and easy to pulse. So if I've got an enemy that I want to hit, I can just simply fire and pulse. I don't have to fire excessively. I can hit my opponent instantly because I don't have to wait for a spin-up time. There we go, like that. I'm kind of hitting him as I go. There we go, come on. As you can see, I can put a lot more sustained fire and have an easier time tracking with it too, because I don't have to worry about the excessive heat. Enemies that are very dodgy might not be the best enemies you want to fight with the D-point cannon. Is high heat you're losing a lot of damage time if the enemy can dodge your bullets as you're firing. So what we'll do is I'll do much like the other video. I'm going to do one more round. I'll go ahead and try the D-Point Vulcan a little bit more and see what my final impressions of this mech are. Alright, so here we are. I'm going to try it again with the D-Point Vulcan. See how it feels, and then, of course, go into the final impressions of this mech. Go into a point, see if we can't find some combat. Unfortunately, I am running into low population servers at this point, so we'll see what I can do. Alright, nothing here. Let's go ahead and take this point. It looks like what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my machine gun down. Looks like I have a 1 minute cooldown on that. Something is hitting me. Where is that coming from? Is that the... Oh, did I not... Oh... Yeesh, look at that heat, just to take that down. Now, of course, that is kind of the same with other weapons. It does take a bit to take some of those turrets down, so not sure about it yet. We're going to keep trying here, see if we can't find a player, maybe someone not so dodgy. So I really like the Hellfire rockets. I'm glad to see another mech get them. But I'm not so sure about the other weapons that this mech has. The submachine gun is a very good weapon, actually. That one is good. That one's very well balanced. It was designed around the assault mech in mind, and is one of the early weapons, so I can see where that got some polish in it already. Alright, come here, you. Whoa! I fell. Oh, someone's taking my point. Let's... Yes, they're going to number 3, so we will go and help out there. Looks like I got my turret back, so I can actually drop another one. So far, the damage has felt a little underwhelming, so let's... Another mech in defensive mode. There we go. I had a little help on that one, but that's good. You can see where it starts to cone out very quickly, and this is not a weapon you can actually pulse. You can try, but that makes it very difficult because you have something of a second delay between shots, which would be very difficult to keep track of at times. So let's go ahead and close the gap on this guy. Oops, I fired my missiles without a lock on. As you can see there, they missed. Not bad. It seems very good for whittling away the armor of targets that are not moving quite as much. Perhaps it's not the damage I'm concerned about. While that feels like an issue, it could simply be that maybe the heat is a bit high. It seems like it might need a little bit of tweaking still. The other weapons have felt very balanced so far. It is a high heat weapon, and especially when combined with these rockets, they don't generate a lot over time. As you can see, they have a very low fire rate. But when you're sitting here trying to fire this and try and fire rockets, you can see my heat just jumped up very quickly there by trying to combine the two. So it feels like maybe the weapons combination is working against this mech's design. It's hard to say. As you can see, I'm doing pretty good here against this one. I'm going to go ahead and activate my damage reduction. Fortunately, I am at the point where I can no longer spam. I cannot... Yeah, I'm in a losing battle here. See, there we go. Let's go ahead and put the turret down and try and walk him into it. That... Oh no, it didn't put it down. Let's... Yeah, there we go. Yeah, the heat is definitely very counterproductive to this weapon. So, Bruiser. Well, the Bruiser is a fairly good, well-rounded mech. Unfortunately, that well-roundedness really comes from using the submachine gun. And in that case, this mech feels little more than just an alternate version of the assault mech. The assault mech being the very first mech you get in the game. The assault mech has a rifle and a submachine gun to choose from, and those are fairly well balanced against each other. The rifle has a longer range. The submachine gun is shorter but faster firing with more heat efficiency. So you have a choice there between shorter range, longer range, and of course firing rate, all that. So there's a balance there. Those work out together and work very well on that mech. For this one, that assault rifle of course works well. What I'm comparing it against is a mech that has a tow rocket to a mech that has Hellfire missiles. I think that's a good contrast, actually. The tow rocket, the Hellfire missiles needed to be given to another mech. They really needed to have that. I'm just not sure this was the mech to give it to, or if maybe it's just the D-point. Again, possibly balancing needs to happen with the Vulcan. It's really hard to... It's hard for me to really say at this point. I feel that there does need to be a tweak. Those are just some suggestions. But again, with the submachine gun, there's definitely a balance there. I can feel it. There's just something with the D point. And again, the heat just seems to be the biggest factor there. Being unable to take out a heavy mech, whom I was pretty much outmaneuvering at that point without being constantly on high heat, was kind of an issue. I basically only had two choices there. One, to pulse my D point, or two, to just wait and rely on my missiles. Doesn't seem to be a good position to be in, quite honestly. So maybe they'll take that to heart, they'll take a look at it, and maybe try and figure out what they could do there. Because I would really like to see this mech meet its potential. The ability to reduce my incoming damage was very nice indeed. In fact, that was probably why I survived that fight against that mech. Without that, I'm pretty sure I would have met an untimely demise. So let's go ahead and activate that now. Maybe I can't. Well, that's very strange. Perhaps I'm running into a bug. You can hear the sound effect as it's trying to activate. So maybe that's another reason that it feels a little odd. If my ability does not work, then that could very well be why I don't feel like the mech is quite working to its design. So there's something to keep in mind. Again, beta is beta. I will probably revisit this mech as we go along, just to see if my opinion of it changes, or if there is a bug fix regarding that. Because yeah, I am definitely not able to use my ability here, and that is hindering me. So let's get this guy here before we go. Okay, yeah, I am taking quite a bit of damage. If I put down another turret, okay, yes, it does replace my current turret. Just double checking. Okay, yeah, I cannot use my armor. Well, that's a shame. I do like the design of the mech, and I was really looking forward to him. So, well, that's my thoughts on this one, but if you're interested and perhaps you want to replace your tow rocket with Hellfire missiles, this still could be a very good mech. Once the damage absorb ability starts working properly, this mech could be a real terror on the battlefield. Being able to put out a good amount of damage while not receiving a lot in return is quite nice, especially if it has the maneuverability of a medium, and with that ability possibly the defenses of a heavy. Alright, well, this has been Hawken. I am KageKaze, taking a look at the Bruiser medium mech. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.